And some days are totally fine though, and some I can avoid it, and like I sometimes like get really lucky and like sneak different ways to like do it. But I think what I've come to terms with is like that's gonna happen in LA.
Right.
You know what I mean? This isn't the like middle of nowhere, like, you know, where there's like actual privacy. It's like the land of where everything happens.
Totally.
And there's tons of people here. It's also like I'm not the only person that deals with this. It's like so many people deal with it, and it comes with the territory. And it's not like, I hate when people are like, well, you asked for this, because it's like, I don't think that's like a real thing to say. I didn't ask for grown men to follow me around with cameras, but I do understand that it comes with the territory.
It's hard to make friends when you're in a position where you don't know people's intentions, right? Do you have a hard time trusting people?
Sometimes. I feel like I'm the type of person, and I've always been this way, where I'm like, I trust people until they prove me wrong, which is like, I guess sometimes can be a dangerous way to be. I'm a people person. Like, I love to connect with people. I love meeting new people. I sometimes have a hard time with like becoming like friends with someone or close to someone, but like I love being cool with people and like being social and meeting people and knowing their story and like where are they from. I think that I have a lot of my friends that I'm very close to are people I've been close to for a long time. Some newer friends, some not, but I just think, yeah, I think there's sometimes that aspect of like the distrust of like, I don't know what you want to be around for.
Have you ever had someone take advantage of you and your situation and like kind of love that it's like, oh, I get this lifestyle around her, and like, how do you deal with that?
My personality is very like, I don't do well with confrontation. I don't like to like confront awkward situations. I'm trying to work on it. I'm trying to be better at that. But I never want to like, I've always been the type of person where like I don't want to like end things on like a sour note with a person, because especially if there's someone like in an industry where I have to see them, or like if we're going to be out somewhere and I got to see, like I don't want to walk into a room and feel like I have beef with someone. Like that stresses me out big time crazy.
Even if it's so you can stick up for yourself.
Yeah.
We're working on that today.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're working on that today.
We're gonna work on that.
Yeah, even if that's something I struggle with, even if it's for me sticking up with myself, I just want to like, because I think there's a way to stick up for yourself and still be cordial. I've had situations or a situation where I feel like there was like a lot of stuff I found out about the situation, and then I knew if I confronted the person, they were just not going to own up to any of it. So it's like, what's the point?
Right.
If I'm going to go to you and be like, here's what I found out, I know that it's true, I've seen the proof, too many people have said something to me about it, and they're just going to be like, I can't believe you would believe that about me. Like, that's just not true. Why am I going to waste my breath with somebody who's just not even who's not in the place in their life, or like the type of person that is going to even receive the confrontation at all? Because I can do confrontation if it's in a calm, appropriate, I'm not a yeller, like I'm not going to like freak out, and like I'll get fired up when it's something that I'm really like passionate about or defensive about, because like I've had that happen to me before. But I still always want to end it on like a, how did we move forward from here? Not like, and sometimes the reality I've had to face is that like sometimes that's not possible. Like sometimes you just can't be around that person or be friends with that person, and like it is what it is.
Totally.
You just have to move on.
So many people in the world are fascinated by you and fascinated by your life, and I think the public can kind of feel that from you, of like, you don't like confrontation. You rarely will speak out on things if there's drama, which I think so many people do respect you for. But how much does that then weigh on you, of things piling up on you, that it's like, when is going to be a good moment for Hailey to just kind of like speak her truth? And you've done it a couple times on the internet, which I think people were like, oh, fuck yes. Like, Hailey, let's go, which we're going to get into.
Well, I think based on what you're saying, like one of the, I think, issues with that is that then you get stuck having to explain yourself for every little thing. And I had to get over that, because I was in a place at one point where I felt like I wanted to like explain the narrative and explain myself, and like that's also exhausting. So if it's like every single time I do an interview or if I say something and there's going to be something that people are like, why would she say that? Or like, she's wrong for saying that, or that doesn't make sense. You said marriage is hard work. And then I said that and everybody was like, that's not a good sign if you think that it's like hard. Like, it's like no matter what I say, I'm always going to have to be explaining myself to people, which is why I actually hate doing interviews where they're like, it's like a blurb of a longer thing that I said that's just so out of context. And then I'm going to feel like I'm explaining myself.
What marriage doesn't have ups and downs, and in a good way? You get
but
through
also
shit.
What I meant when I said hard work is just like there's compromise, there's sacrifice. I feel that way in most relationships in my life, even friendships, even work relationships. Like they can be tough sometimes. I didn't mean it just overall, yeah, like it's hard and it sucks. Like that's not what I'm saying at all. It's literally the best thing ever. The whole sentence of what I said was like, he's my best friend, I love coming home to him, but like, yeah, it takes work because I'm 25 years old and I have a life and I have a career and I have my own friends. So trying to balance making my wants and needs and hopes and dreams work while meshing my life with another human who has his hopes and dreams and career, and like we're busy people and we want to be in a marriage, so we're making it work, and sometimes it's hard. How does that not make sense?
People don't want it to make sense.
Yeah.
People really want that statement to be like, the marriage is ending, like here we go.
Oh, but people have been saying that since the beginning, so that's why at this point I was more sensitive about it. I don't really feel sensitive about it now because I'm just like,
totally.
No matter what I say, it's like the marriage is ending. Like every single time I say something,
it's like here we go
about my own relationship, it's like there's something wrong with it. So it's like I just don't care. People have been saying this now for 4 years.
So let's get into it. You are married.
I start sticking my feet.
You're like,
into the
oh
couch.
fuck,
I'm like,
here you go, Alex, just go. She's literally burrowing in.
Like, look at my hands.
Oh my god, Hailey. Okay, you married one of the most famous people on the planet, Justin Bieber. Mm-hmm. What are the best parts about being married to Justin?
Well, I think the best parts are that he's my best friend, and there's nothing better than being with the person that makes you smile the most, makes you laugh the most. Like, he's just literally the best human to me ever. And I think that he's a person who has been through a lot and shouldn't have gotten to the other side of a lot of what he's been through, and he has, and he's overcome so many different things in his life for being famous so young. And the fact that he's as normal as he is, he's literally just, to me, I feel like he's a very like normal, regular guy. I guarantee you someone takes this and they like fucking chop it up and make it sound like I said something different. But I've known him for a very long time. We were friends for a long time before anything else, and like I just love him.
You can see it with the two of you, even though we only see stuff. I mean, I remember when I saw you guys on the beach in Santa Barbara, and I grew up, I watched Justin Bieber. I was like, oh, like, I didn't know what to expect. Like, I was definitely intimidated by you guys because we'd only met once. I was like, wait, why are they so normal? Justin's like, hey, what's up? Gives me a hug. You're like, what are you guys doing on your trip? I'm like, you guys are so normal for how crazy your life is. And it's unfortunate that people don't get to see that side of you guys.
Yeah. He's also like, he just has the kindest, sweetest, most like gentle heart and soul to me. And I've always thought that about him. Obviously, he's gone through phases in his life where he was being, you know, a little out there. I don't want to say like fuck boy because it's like not, yeah, but like yes and no. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but like he was just in a different space in his life and was like, I think ultimately when people are like acting out, it's just because they're hurting. And he was just in a space in his life. I mean, we're all hurting every single day, but I think sometimes we go through a season where it's like we're hurting a lot more, we're going through a lot more, so we're just a different version of ourselves that's not really who we are. But like to me, he's just the best, the most fun. Like I have the most fun with him. He understands me more than anybody ever has in my whole life, and I think that goes both ways, and he's just my guy.
How has being married to someone with that level of fame impacted your identity?
Where do I start? Well, I think even for starters, even me talking about him or talking about our relationship, people will take that and be like, all she ever talks about is her relationship with him. And even something like that, I'm just like, well, we are married and he's a huge part of my life. And obviously people are very interested in like our life together, and he's a humongous public figure. So it's like, it's a little bit unavoidable at times. And I do try to, have my own thing, but it's like our lives are completely meshed together. So I don't know. I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, of course people are going to ask me about it. They're going to ask him about it. Like, I just don't see how that's like avoidable. As sometimes it is because it's just not necessary to talk about. Mm-hmm. But like, even in a situation like this, yeah, we're married. I have his last name. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to avoid like talking about my life. Like, that's my life.
This person that you happen to be married to happens to also be one of the most famous people in the world.
Nobody would be asking me about him if he was someone who had a different type of job or like, a 9-to-5. Like, the reality is that it is what it is.
From your point of view, can you explain why the internet was so angry over your engagement to Justin?
First of all, I think one thing is that we're both really young. I think honestly that's for starters, which I totally understand. When we got engaged, I was 21 and he was 24. Yeah, 24 and 21. I personally never thought I was going to get married that young. Like, I always thought I would be maybe getting married now, and I'm 25 now, and I still think I'm really young. I think the timing was obviously very rapid and very fast, which now being 4 years past that, looking back on it, I totally get it. I'm like, yeah, that seemed really drastic and really crazy but that was what we felt was a decision between the two of us, and it felt correct for the two of us at the time, and clearly we were right because here we are 4 years later. And I think just given the timeline of like where he was at before we got back together and what was going on, and there was just a lot happening.
Yeah.
But I will say too, like, the only people that really know the truth of the situation and what the timeline really was and how it happened and how it went down are like me and him. Perception is a really tricky thing because when you're watching something from the outside, you can see it one way when it may not really be the reality of what happened behind closed doors. And that's a big challenge, I think, of being somebody who is in the spotlight or being famous, is that I know how we got to where we got, period. Like, I just know how it happened. I was there, and I was living it every day. So there's just, there's a lot that I can understand why people were so like, what is going on? Like, this seems crazy.
Your husband was in a very public relationship. They were kids. People were obsessed with the idea of them. People were confused on the timeline you're talking about of like, is she a homewrecker? So I guess my question is, Hailey, were you ever with Justin romantically at the same time as her?
No, not one time. When him and I started hanging out, like, okay, let's just put it this way. When him and I ever started like hooking up or like anything of that sort, he was not ever in a relationship, ever, at any point. I would never, it's not my character to mess with someone's relationship. I would just never do that. I was raised better than that. I'm not interested in doing that, and I never was. I think that there are situations where you can still kind of have like back and forth with someone, but even that was not the situation. Like, I can say period, point blank, I was never with him when he was in a relationship with anybody. That's the end of it. And I had been involved with him since I was 18. The timeline also that I think sometimes is in question of like us getting together and getting engaged, and him having been spending time with his ex before that. This is so crazy. I've literally never talked about this ever. I understand, again, how it looks from the outside, and there's a lot of perception there, but that was a situation where I know for a fact that it was the right thing for them to close that door. They were not in a relationship at that time, but of course, there's a very long history there, and it's not my relationship. It has nothing to do with me, so I respect that a lot. But I know that it closed a chapter, and I think it was the best thing that could have happened for him to move on and be engaged and get married and like move on with his life in that way. And it's hard for me to talk about this because I don't want to talk on either one of their behalf, again, because it was their relationship, and I honestly respect that very deeply. But I just know what was going on when we got back together, and I know what had to happen for that to come back together in a healthy way. And I think it was the most healthy, mature decision that he could have made, and I respect that. As a woman, I would never want to get into a relationship with someone and be engaged to them and be getting married to them and think in the back of my mind, I wonder like if that was really like closed for you, and I know for a fact that the reason we were able to get back together was because it was very much completely closed, and that is respectful to me.
So let's talk about your experience with, there's been a lot of hate on the internet. I know you don't like to talk about this stuff, but no. You've never...
It literally makes me so uncomfortable. But
and
like,
I see that. I see.
Yeah, I'm like can't stop moving, and I'm like crawling because I just feel like there's like a little bit of that like anxiety of like people will probably take it the wrong way, or like I just don't want to say something that is like being disrespectful or like bringing up something that can like stir up feelings for someone that like I know that we're just all so far moved on from like any type of drama, and I'm so happy for that. So like I get nervous about talking about it because I'm like I don't want to like stir anything up or like bring anything up that is going to be like a thing. Or
and I get that, and I think the reason unfortunately is you guys aren't completely normal human beings. There is a complete world out there that is obsessed with all of you in different ways. And then there are people that hate you for who your husband dated back in his past. Take me through how your husband's past relationship still to this day affects what people are saying about you and to you on the internet.
Well, I think like one of the things that we already just covered is that like the timeline of things, and like a lot of the hate and the perpetuation comes from like, oh, you stole him. And I guess maybe that just comes from like the fact that they wished that like he had ended up with someone else, and that's fine. Like you can wish that all you want, but that's just not the case.
In December of 2020, a person posted a video encouraging haters to comment on your Instagram live with nasty messages announcing their allegiance for Justin's ex and just like fully harassing you on your live. What do you remember feeling on that Instagram live when you saw those comments start popping up?
I think there's like a certain like almost like numbness that you get where you just like, you just know it's going to happen. It still happens to this day. You're talking about something that was 2 years ago now, almost 3. And it's something that's, if I was to go live on Instagram right now, it would still be happening, probably less, which is nice. But you just reach a point where you're just like, you have to just like ignore it and be like, okay.
And didn't Justin came publicly to your defense and like said something?
Well, because I know that for him, that's hurtful. Because if we have moved on, why can't you? Like, that's kind of just the whole thought process of like, it's just hurtful. It's hurtful. Yeah. It's bullying.
It brings me back to the Rob Pattinson and Kristen Stewart, the Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth, their first love, right? And people are obsessed, I feel like, with this concept of like your first relationship. Somehow it's being pushed onto you as like, get the fuck out of the way, like let them get back. And you're like, if I wasn't even here, that's not going to happen. So like, let us just live our lives. And now you go find
what
your
happens
partner.
when the glitz and glamour of celebrity life are eclipsed by relentless comparisons and unfair expectations? For Hailey Bieber, a woman whose face is instantly recognized across the globe, the answer is both deeply personal and universally resonant. In a world obsessed with celebrity relationships and rivalries, Hailey's recent admission that she hates doing interviews because she's always compared to Selena Gomez has sparked a critical conversation about individuality, respect, and the unseen burdens of fame. To the outside world, Hailey Bieber's life might seem enviable. She's a successful model, a fashion icon, and a businesswoman with her own booming skincare line. Married to pop superstar Justin Bieber, her every move is followed by millions. But beneath the surface of designer gowns and dazzling red carpets, Hailey deals with pressure that few could imagine. The constant, exhausting comparisons to her husband's ex-girlfriend, Selena Gomez. In a rare moment of candor, Hailey admitted, "I hate doing interviews because I'm always compared to Selena." Her words, simple yet powerful, reveal frustration that goes far beyond the boundaries of celebrity gossip. For Hailey, interviews meant to showcase her achievements and personality often morph into sessions where her identity is eclipsed by someone else's past. Hailey's journey has never been just about being Justin Bieber's wife. From a young age, she's worked to make a name for herself on her own terms. Her modeling career has seen her grace the covers of international magazines, walk the runways for top designers, and become the face of major campaigns. Her skincare brand Rhode has made waves in the beauty industry, winning over fans and experts alike. Yet, despite these accomplishments, interviews frequently drift away from her achievements and turn toward her husband's history. "It's not right," Hailey shared. "I want to be seen for who I am, not just as someone's wife or in comparison to someone else." Her frustration is palpable and entirely justified. Hailey's experience is a reflection of a broader societal issue, the tendency to pit women against each other. Instead of being celebrated for their individual talents and contributions, women, especially those in the public eye, are too often measured against each other. The headlines, the social media chatter, the interview questions, all reinforce a narrative that erases individuality and perpetuates rivalry. Why must women's worth be weighed in relation to others? Why can't Hailey be recognized for her own strengths, just as Selena Gomez is celebrated for hers? These are questions that extend far beyond Hollywood. They're questions that touch the lives of women everywhere, in every industry. Constant comparison isn't just unfair. It's emotionally taxing. The anxiety and frustration Hailey describes are symptoms of a culture that refuses to let her, or anyone, move beyond the past. For someone constantly in the public eye, these pressures can lead to self-doubt, anxiety, and a sense of isolation. Hailey's honesty about her struggles is both vulnerable and brave. By speaking out, she's not just advocating for herself, but for every woman who has ever felt diminished by comparison. Hailey Bieber isn't asking for special treatment. She's asking for respect, for fairness, for the chance to be recognized as an individual, not as a shadow of someone else's story. Her willingness to speak her truth is a reminder that celebrities, for all their fame, are human beings deserving of empathy and understanding. The next time we see Hailey Bieber on a magazine cover or walking a red carpet, maybe we'll remember her not for the comparisons drawn in headlines, but for her courage to speak out. By sharing her truth, Hailey is helping to pave the way for a world where every woman can stand confidently in her own spotlight, free from the weight of unfair comparisons. In the end, Hailey's story is a call to action for all of us, to celebrate individuality, to resist the urge to compare, and to remember that everyone deserves to be seen for who they truly are.